Are we rolling? Okay, this book here, Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. I think I may have read this book when I was in my early 20s, but I read an awful lot of books, and I don't remember all the books I read. So I don't remember if I read it or not, which is very strange because I just read it again, and I didn't remember very much of it. So I guess it didn't make a very big impression on me the first time I read it, but everyone seems to crow about this book like it's so great. So I figured, like, well, I'll read it. It's an important book, I guess. It's science fiction, but it seems to make it quite an impression on a lot of people. I thought it was very strange that they never made a movie out of this book, Stranger in a Strange Land. At least I couldn't find any reviews or mention of a motion picture made from this book on the internet. Although I think The Man Who Fell to Earth was kind of a ripoff of this book. Because Man Who Fell to Earth, I don't know if you ever saw it. It was sort of a cult B movie from the early 70s with David Bowie in it, and the whole thing about water being sacred, and he was from outer space and he came to Earth and made all these patents and built an empire on all the money he made from his original patents and everything. It's basically what this character in this book does, although he's originally a human who was raised by Martians because his parents died in the expedition, and he's brought back to Earth, and it took him a while to figure out how Earthlings do things and stuff, and then when he finally got the hang of everything, because he did a stint as a magician, he learned a lot about psychology, and he started his own church, which developed quite a following in the book. Heinlein's an interesting author. I noticed people like Phil K. Dick talk about what a nice guy he was and how helpful he was when he was sick and everything like that. But he had to say, although I detest his politics. That's one thing I don't like about. What is his politics got to? Why bring up his politics? I watched a documentary about Steve Ditko, the comic book artist that made up Spider-Man, and the other people had to thrash his politics because apparently he had very conservative politics. I mean, clearly there's an agenda going on there. I mean, if I like someone's work, I don't just jump in and start trashing their politics. Like Paul McCartney, I think is a very gifted musician, a genius in fact, but I think he's also kind of an idiot savant because his politics are just retarded. But when I talk about Paul McCartney, that's not the first thing I bring up, is his politics. But whenever people discuss Heinlein, they gotta bring up his politics and criticize his politics. Anyway, that's beside the point. This was an interesting book. There was some black woman on YouTube who did a review of this book, because I was looking to see what other people had to say about it, and she said, it's supposed to be taking place in the future, but it seems like it took place in the 1950s to me. It's like, well, duh, it was written in 1959 or 1960, and he's not psychic. He couldn't really predict how people would be interacting in the future, so of course he used contemporary 50s sociology to put a story together. As a matter of fact, science fiction is frequently used as a form of social criticism. I don't read very much science fiction, but from what little I've read, a lot of times it's used to criticize society, and which is also interesting because this book was written in the early '60s. Way before the free love hippie movement came along, and he predicts that this guy in the book, his religion, one of the most attractive proponents of it, I guess, was the whole free love aspect. All that kind of stuff kind of took off around 1966 or 67, I guess. So I guess it was kind of prophetic in a way, which is kind of strange because I don't believe in coincidences. I think all our media is very tightly controlled, and that's how they control our society. All these things that came down on us, this anti-racism and free love, and they used to really be hard to tell people to take drugs back in the '60s and stuff like that. That's not stuff that comes up from the grassroots. That's stuff that comes from the top down. That's one thing people don't really question when they start to adopting political beliefs and stuff like that. You're not being a free thinker. You're not doing something because the time is right, and and it's like a change in mass consciousness. No, it's social engineering. But people aren't bright enough to catch on to that. What are things I want to say about this book? I can't read my own writing, folks. Anyway, so it's an interesting book. it's kind of tedious and kind of slow in parts and stuff like that. But you know, it's a decent book. It's the kind of book where you want to see what's going to happen next and everything like that. And of course, you know, you're kind of bummed out like when he gets like totally like ripped to shreds by that angry mob at the end. Hope I didn't give anything away, folks. But you might want to pick it up and read it. I got a used copy over Amazon, and it's a pretty long one, over 400 pages. So it's only a couple bucks. So why not? Treat yourself. Okay, that's not the lame video for today, guys. See you in the next video.